In this video, I'm going to go inside the live rig of Ace from Skunk Anansie.
Led Zeppelin, the Black Sabbath, and Free.
There's going to be guitars, amps, pedals, the lot. And a spoiler, it gets loud. The first thing we're going to do is take a look through your rack of guitars, which is getting bigger or smaller as you tour.
It's actually getting smaller, my rack of guitars, because I was very indulgent before and I had one for every tuning, but this tour has a couple of less tunings. I don't know if that's the right word. So you've hit us in the height of summer, and so let's have a look what we got here. So we have an Ace Signature here, which is like my achievement in life, a signature PRS guitar. And this one is tuned to D sharp standard. So I'm down a half step. So I play 3 or 4 songs with that, including a song like Secretly and Love Someone Else. And I've stuck the swallow on all of my guitars. All my guitars also have a chord tap on them, which Nick put in at PRS. And they've all got a block in behind the bridge. So if a string breaks, it doesn't go backwards.
Nice.
So it's like a fixed bridge in a way. And as you can see, they all have a little bit of custom sticker work on the back of them as well. So that's the Ace Signature, that's the first one. So the new album, we have this Starla. I'm playing the songs with the Starla on stage because it's got a bit of a vintage tone. Great sounding guitar, it looks really old, covered in stickers again. But this is in fact the prototype, right? And as you can see, the paint is wearing off it and you can actually scratch it off with your fingernail.
Great.
Right, so that's going to age really, really well, but it does sound amazing. It's really, really good. My latest edition, which I absolutely love, is the 277, the Baritone. So this came out for this tour, and I play all the songs that are tuned down to a B in that. So there's about 3 or 4 songs on the new album that are low B. As you can see, at the moment, a makeshift, I've got some tape on here because I was hitting it so hard, I was hooking the strings underneath the pickups. So I need to fix that somehow. But it's a great guitar and it's got a chord tap on it, which I use actually as well. And that one's got relatively few stickers on it because it's brand new. So this came out on this tour. So, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying playing this guitar. So that's the guitars that change throughout the show.
Right, and you've got one more that's currently on stage.
Yes, which I play all of the time. And I've played all of the time since I've got it. So if anything is in the old set, anything that's in E standard, which is most of our set, that guitar gets played. So that's actually been on the road. When did I get that? 2008, something like that. Constantly, didn't play constantly. So yes, it's this one here. So this is actually a really old Tremonti when they first came out. So what's this? This is a 2008 Tremonti. With the grain in it, so like a smoke burst type of thing. It's been through the war, as you can see. It's absolutely, it weighs a ton. It's feel the weight of that. Oh, for a Tremonti, it's very heavy. Wow. But heavy guitars always sound good. So this one I've had since 2008, and I played it religiously on all of the shows since then. Right, so it's always gone on tour. I've never had a problem with it. I've got a block in behind the bridge, so that it doesn't move or go backwards if you break a string. I've got coil tap in it as well, which coil taps both these pickups when I want a cleaner sound, in the center. I took out the Mark Tremonti original pickups and I put 5708s in when they first came out with PRS. Mm-hmm. So it was very early stage when I went to the factory and I said, I need to, it sounds more vintage. And they said, we've just got this machine and it's got the wire in it from 1957, right? And it was in 2008. And so that's why they're called 5708s. So I think I was probably one of the first people to put 5708s in a single cut. And I've had them in there ever since. And the tone of this guitar now is fantastic after nearly 20 years on the road. The neck is a wide thin, but it does say, it feels different. It feels very handmade, this guitar, because I think back in the day, it was like the new model, they just put it out. But yeah, so that's my core guitar I play all the time.
Fantastic. It looks amazing. It's got some stories to tell, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're playing these guitars. This is your number 1.
Yep.
Let's move on to your amps and your cabs.
Yes, let's have a look. So, the kind of sound, my favorite sounds, right, from back in the day are Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and free. That was the kind of thing that I grew up with.
That's a good choice.
Right, so I've always wanted like a cross between that kind of sound. So like free, that Paul Kossoff kind of, you know, natural kind of sound. So this is vintage greenbacks in here, and this was custom made for me. And the reason it's white and gold is because I wanted a cab like Randy Rhoads, right, when I was young. And so Marshall made me this probably 30 years ago, personally for me. And it's lived with me ever since. It's been on tour ever since it's been made. So it was I want a cab like Randy Rhoads, and I want it to sound like Led Zeppelin or Free. So that's vintage greenbacks, okay? So the newer one, so I've had lots of cabs throughout the years. It keeps changing, you know, but this one survived. This one here is a Zilla cab, and it's extra thick, as you can see. So it's properly heavy. So it's got a really weighty sound. But I think from what I remember, the speakers in this are the vintage G1230s.
Right.
So when you put them together, this is like Free, Led Zeppelin, and this is a bit like Guns N' Roses. Do you know what I mean? So you imagine a bit like Slash, that kind of, that's a 90s, more of a 90s kind of Marshall-y sound. And this is like more of a 70s. And you put them together with the amps and you have a different attack. So when I play, it kind of goes like that. So it sounds like two guitars rather than one, because one decays quicker and one attacks quicker. So when they put it out the front, they split it. So it goes one each side, and then the natural hit kind of goes like that. So it sounds like
double tracking.
yeah. So it sounds, that's why I did it. So it sounds like a double track.
I had no idea.
So that's the heavy sound, and then so there's 2 amp heads that power these, which we'll see in a second. Then the clean sound. This is a custom cab as well. This is these Koch from Holland.
Yep.
And they made this one, and this is, I think, oh yeah. So I had a choice of 2. One had a speaker mounted at the front, right? Like I think these do, and then this one was speaker mounted behind, and I took the one with the speaker mounted behind because it had more warmth in it. So the clean cab is independent of these. It just switches, and that's really warm and round sounding, and these are really kind of heavy. And I take my tones down as well so that it sounds really big. Yeah, so that's the cabs.
Right. I'm blown away by that. I've learned so much.
Very simple.
It is, but when you don't think of it, it's not, right? So you say you've got a whole amp rack around the back?
Yes, let's have a look.
So your amps, you've got 3?
I've got 3 amps, and I've got spares of these as well on the tour. So this is the oldest. Let's go to the Marshall. So the Marshall, I bought 900 when I was kind of like a kid, when they kind of came out, and it stayed with me ever since I bought that amp. It's just an amazing sounding amp. It sounds brilliant. And on this one, it's like the basic guitar sound is just amps. I only add pedals for a bit of something, right? So when I'm playing, a lot of the time, I'm just playing through the amps. So it's the valve sound. So the Marshall's here, it's got the gain all the way up, but it's got the presence and the trebles backwards. So it's a really fat sound, you know, because when you get really loud with any amp, it kind of cuts into your ears, you know. So I always took them down because I used to play live without, you know, monitors on stage and, you know, without in-ears. So I would always have them quite dull. So when you listen to things like Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, all these kind of bands, they all have quite dull sounding guitars, and it always sounds amazing loud. So that's my philosophy too. So down with the stuff. Funny thing is, this has been on the road for like over 30 years, and I've had it before that. When I first bought it, the reverb didn't, you know, it broke in like 10 seconds. And last week, it started on its own again on tour. No way. I was like, where's that reverb coming from? And it's coming from the amps. I have no idea why. It's a ghost. So this amp here, so there's distortion. This is the distortion at the same time. This is a Koch Powertone 3, but it's a prototype. It's a modified one for me. So that's why I've got all these stickers on it, because I could, you know, it took me ages to kind of dial in the sound. I'm only using 1 channel in this. It has like 3 channels. It's got clean, it's got a crunchy thing, overdrive circuit on it, and then it's got like the master channel. So I'm using the master channel on here, and this amp really sounds similar to an old 800, Marshall 800, because I used to have another 800 in this rack, and and I loved it, and they kind of based my signature on that sound. So basically and it's really solid. So 2 together, it's like having an old 800 and old 900 at the same time, and they both have a different attack. This is faster, I think, than that one, because it's newer. But it makes it sound like 2 guitars. So this split on the stage, you know, 1 each side. Then we got to this one, the Baritone. The Baritone is my clean sounding amp. This is very similar to a big Fender sound. So I'm only using the clean channel on here. The distorted channels on it are great, I have to say. They're amazing. But I'm only using this one clean channel, and it's really loud clean. And you've got these kind of speaker damping and things like that. So super loud clean sound, and then two heavy sounds. So when I'm on stage, if I switch like this, you'll get like that in the middle, and then the ones on the outside, like a record.
Right, right.
And then above it, we have these racks. This is the one I'm using. This is a spare. This is another spare. All of my modulation sounds are in here. So the delays in the right time, the chorus, all that kind of stuff goes through here, and it goes to the clean amp. So when I switch, it independently goes clean and modulation. So it's really beautiful. And then I switch on that one, it goes analog pedals, analog valves. So you can have a real clean switch. It can be super heavy, everything turned on, stamp on it, and it will just go to that dead clean. So they're independent channels. So that's, you know, like when you listen to like Nirvana or any record and it goes ching ching badam. That's how I do it. Independent splitting of them.
Great. Well, from knowing the band and knowing the sound, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm a bit blown away by how much is going on compared to other players I've talked to. I mean, they're like one amp and a bunch of pedals, and lots of guitars always.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is a very sensible sound. I love this theory you have of having the double track guitars, the two guitar players.
Yeah, my thing is because we've done 30 years of playing and records, I always try to emulate the records as close as possible. So not even just the sounds, even the way that it comes out the front, it sounds like a record. Do you know what I mean? So, and it was like years ago, I went to see Metallica, and they played, what's the one? It's like the ballad, Nothing Else Matters, is it? And they came on, they started playing it, and it had that sound. And I said, I thought it's so important to have the sound you made the record with. Like when you see U2, they have the sound of the record. You go and see someone else and they don't have the original sounds they do, the impact of the song is different.
People expect it, don't they? The audience doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, trademark sounds, I think they need to be, you know, you need to have them.
Speaking of trademarks,
yeah,
can we have a look at your pedalboard, please?
Pedalboard, yes. There's a few reasons for this pedalboard. One is the big spacing, because I always like a lot of space to stamp and not hit two switches at the same time. So that the pedals are all in front of me because I'm not worried about having independent switches. I like to see like something green. I'm stamping on it in the dark, something orange, you know, that kind of thing. So for me, running around, it's easy to stamp on one pedal. It's easy to see what I'm doing, right? So that's the reason there's a lot of space in this board. This board was originally made by Mike Hill about 30 years ago, and I met him. He was the guy that invented the master volume for Marshall. And I met him after he'd left the company as the managing director, and he said he didn't know what he's going to do next. And I said to him, well, look, I'm thinking about getting some pedal boards. And he said, I will make them for you. So the first boards he ever made was the first two boards were for me. So I designed this with him. And all of the electronics are in here. And he said, do you want the pedals inside or outside? And I said, I want them outside so I can change them and stuff like that. So he made this board, and then he made a second one, which actually broke at the beginning of this tour, which I was using as a spare. But I think 30 years on the road is not bad for one pedal board, right? So what happens is you got a switching across the two channels, clean and dirty, and they're independent, and they go out of here. It's got buffer in it. It does all the stuff, no noise, all that kind of thing. Guitar goes in, and then that goes to two distortion amps at the same time, and one clean amp, okay? So all of these pedals only go to the distorted amps, right? They only go to the distorted amps. So this Digitech control, this controls the racks that we saw. It only goes to the clean amps, and it's usually just songs, you know, a whole song. I might switch to the clean for a part in the song, but it's not, there's not much switching. You can see it's practically whole songs. And that's independent. So when I step on that to clean, it goes ping, and it goes straight up to the clean amp, and it's all pure. I can have all of these pedals turned on, and it would just stop, you know, it'll switch them independently. So I don't have to change anything here. So on the bottom, I said all analog pedals, because I love the way analog pedals sound on tube amps. My tube sound is basically what it is. That's what I play most of the time, and I just add pedals when I need it. So I put them all in front of the amp instead of a loop, because I like the way it pushes the overdrive. And also you have to work out which sequence they need to be in to sound good with each other. Like if you put the chorus before there, it doesn't sound good. If you put that after there, it doesn't sound good, things like that. So that's a process of elimination. And then if I was to say the signal run, so the signal run goes here, guitar goes in here. I use a pad to turn up and down the guitar, you know, the gain. So if, you know, like if you just pull your volume down a bit or the gain on the amp, I just use a pad instead. It's easier. So songs like Hedonism, things like that, when I want a bit less drive in the distortion, I use that. Fifths, I use a lot on because I, you know, play with a single string for like Charlie Big Potato, things like that. So this one is just pure fifths, right? So it's a great pedal here. Classic octave pedal, can't beat it. Always works. Everybody loves them. Super octave. The envelope pedal is the original one that I use for the solo of Hedonism. So Hedonism always has like a new, always has the same sound. So that's the classic pedal that has to stay no matter what. I'm using the horse meat here for the overdrive. It's actually the best overdrive I've ever had. I think it's amazing. It's transparent, as it says, but it heats it up, but it doesn't change any sound if you don't want it to. So I've kind of made it so it doesn't really change the sound. It just heats it up and drives it a bit more for distortion, solos, you know, big chords, but it retains all the original tube sound when there. Hardwire chorus, just because hardwires sound great and they're really just good sounding thing. This is the Angry Rhubarb. This is Mikey from Skin Dread's pedal. And this is like a ridiculous kind of fuzz thing, right? And I use it for some really heavy, fuzzy kind of Sabbathy type riffs. And then the hardwire delay is just an amazing delay pedal. Tons of different settings. I've got it on 1 at the moment, which seems to do, you know, everything for me. So that's a really just a studio sounding delay, really. And that's it. It's not like a massive stuff. And I don't use it all the time in the gig, but I use them at select points.
I'm amazed by your setup because I thought you would have it all sort of linked in the effects loops. You'd have it in some sort of switcher because it was so complicated. And it makes me so happy to know that we come from the same sort of school of, I want to press that button to make that effect happen.
Yeah.
And I love switches.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have used them in bands, but I'm more a fan of now.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? And you know what? People go, oh, it saves the switches. I've never broken a switch on a pedal, right? In my entire life, I don't think, right? So that's what they're for. They're for stepping on. But, you know, if I was to turn around and go, oh, God, I got to turn on the chorus, I'm there. You know what I mean? Whereas if I was on if it was all on this, I'd be like, oh, the chorus is somewhere around here. You know, so that's the ease of it. But when I was a kid, you know, when I got my first guitar and amp, you know, and I just plugged it straight in the front, I always loved that sound. And I tried the loop and the loop didn't have the same sound. So I like the way that pedals push tubes and it makes them sound better for me. So that's basically, you know, that's why it's just old school and it's worked and it always works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole conversation that we're not going to have, but it's, you know, the sort of digital room and that sort of stuff is a whole other sort of area. But I can't wait for the show tonight to actually hear this being used. And now that I know how it's being used, I get to geek out even more and go, oh, that's that.
And I was telling you earlier on that I did have a second board and it broke.
Yeah.
So what I did is let's have a look at this. We can just show you.
This is the surprise, right?
This is the surprise. So a good old pedal train. I've made a little pedal train up, which we can pull out. And it's basically the same vibe. So we've got a Lele switcher, right? And a P split and whatever that is, a PS ISO. That basically does what Mike Hill's board does. Splits the signals, puts it out to 3 amps, no noise. So that's basically that switching section. And then I've got things like, there's a pad again, here's another fifth, another octave. I've got the looking glass in here, which is a really great DOD pedal. Then this thing is amazing, the Brown Spirit, right? This is by Vander Effects from South America. It's like a really noisy fuzz thing, right? Really, really good. And then another hardwire. This is a really beautiful chorus flanger, the Nautilus. And then I had to buy a newer envelope filter because I couldn't get the original one. So that's basically, that does what that board does, but in a little box. So if I fly somewhere, I can chuck that on the plane. If anything goes wrong with this, I can plug it all in.
And if you do fly somewhere, you would still take this? You wouldn't take some sort of fly rig with a digital?
I've got various things, but this was the rig I made to fly with, basically. And I've just created another one with a Boss GT1000 in it, right, with a switching system, which is even smaller if I wanted to chuck it in and not worry about the weight and stuff. But yeah, this is basically that as a spare now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Well, I guess we would be doing people a disservice if we didn't hear something.
Yes.
So as a fan, as a guitar geek, I want to hear this being played. Would you mind?
Yeah, let's do it. So let me get a pick. So the dirty sound is this straight into the amp, all right? And so the normal sound is, this is a, you can see it's quite dull, right? But when you put a driver on it, and then what you can see is when the when the driver's not on, right, it sounds the same. The driver only pushes it for me. I don't change the sound because I like the sound of it, right? So you know, the classic. Right, so that's the envelope filter, the classic sound. We got the octave, which is another classic skunk sound.
Sorry, that sounds insane. That's awesome.
It's really thick, isn't it? It's very thick sounding. But I've kind of tuned the sound into everybody else. That's why it's kind of that dull. Then the chorus. Classic. So this is the angry rhubarb. This is the like. Very, very fuzzy, and the delay very clear. It's pretty noiseless, right? Yeah. So that's basically the board. Oh, this one here, the signal pad. So say I'm playing this. Right, it's the same as doing it. About that turn, it's a half turn, basically. And then this one I use a lot, which is the fifths, you know, which is like. So yeah, so fifths I use quite a lot. So that's basically my array of pedals for distortion.
I really want to hear that clean sound. Could we we switch over the mics and
So you can have like, and you can get super cleans like. Right, and then you've got classic, you know, classic sounds like, let's have a look. Let's get a classic sound. What have we got? Let's go up here somewhere. Just a little. So it's really, really clean. I think if I've got Brazen in here somewhere, haven't I? I'll find it. Where would it be? There it is. So Brazen is like. But if I want to clean it up as well, I can pull this out. So I program, every time I make a record, I program the clean sound into this to be as close as possible to the record. So whenever we do any songs, it will sound like the actual, you know, it's like things like that. So everything I do in that rack is very close to the record, including the amount of delay. And that's it, basically.
Thank you so much for your time, mate.
Pleasure.
It's been an absolute joy from both a fan and a guitar player. I'm like, oh, I've learned so much, and I can't wait to go and watch the video because I'm going to watch it again.
It's very simple, though, isn't it?
It is simple.
It's so logical. It's like a kid of the 80s setup.
Yes.
I've never really changed my philosophy because it's always worked, you know.
There's no old man about it. You're still at the forefront of doing things that need to be done live.
Yeah.
There's no like stuck in your ways. But if it works, then don't try.
Yeah, and also I get the choice of I can just pull a pedal out and change it when I feel like it. The reason they change over the years is some of them break, as you know, and other ones get replaced with something that's kind of better for the record or the job. Like the Horse Meat, when I got that one, I was like, wow, that's an amazing sounding overdrive. It was
What did it replace?
a Hardwire CM2, which replaced an original Tube Screamer, Super Tube Screamer, which was my original pedal, just started to get a bit gnarly, falling apart from the early 80s. So they kind of, you know, but the CM2, I still have that in the case. That's my spare.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I wish you the best show tonight and the
Brilliant.
best shows the remainder of the tour.
Excellent, thank you.
We're going to be here, so you probably see some of that in this video. We'll point a camera at you at some point during the show.
Yeah, wicked.
I'll put all the links to you and your band, of course, and your music and all that stuff under the video description. And thanks to PRS for organizing this for us to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.